This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
The following episode of Charlotte Cooks is brought to you by Central Piedmont Community College and viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi there, welcome to this edition of Charlotte Cooks. I'm Chef Pamela Roberts, and joining me today is Chef TJ. He's here from Bonterra, and you are going to show us how to make an absolutely delicious banana pudding, right?
That is correct.
And you call it a Bourbon Street banana pudding because it comes from...
Well, it's Southeast Texas, Louisiana area,
Okay.
that recipe, and kind of a Creole background, so
Okay.
yes.
The first thing we have to make for banana pudding is what's called a pastry cream, isn't it?
That is correct.
Okay, so pastry cream is just like a really very basic vanilla pudding, but it's better. Okay, so what are we going to use for our pastry cream, TJ?
Well, we have pastry cream starting off with our milk ingredients.
Okay.
Sometimes it's made with just regular milk. I like to take it with half heavy cream and half milk. What that does, it gives me a little thicker consistency.
Makes it nice and rich.
It really does, and it works very well.
Okay.
And so you just take your cream and pour it into the pot.
Okay.
Simple as that. You want to get that to a nice heat. Simple, a nice light boil. That's
So we've
pretty
got
much.
about a cup of each of these, right?
That is correct. And what I want to do also is add my sugar.
So
We get
how
our-
much sugar are you going to use? Here, I've got
Just
sugar right
about
back
2
here
cups.
for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's about 2 cups is good.
Okay.
And you just pour it directly in
All right.
to there like that. You want to boil it just enough to blend the sugar. Not too much, not a heavy boil, just a light little roll. And then what we'll do after that is temper it into our egg yolks. It's really simple.
Now tempering is when you take something hot and add it to something cold so it doesn't curdle. And we're going to show you that technique here as soon as our milk gets nice and hot. And so this is a really very basic pastry cream. Pastry cream, if you substituted the word vanilla pudding, same thing. So if you changed your seasonings in it, if you changed your things you can stir into there, you can make a lot of different kinds of pudding, like a coffee pudding or a
Correct.
butterscotch pudding or even chocolate pudding if you put chips in there and melted them up. So the pastry cream recipe is a really very versatile recipe. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to boil, what are we going to do next?
We can start with our eggs.
Okay.
Okay, we can just mix those into a nice stainless steel bowl.
Okay.
And with our cornstarch.
Okay.
And also the extract.
Okay, and so cornstarch is going to give it a nice thickness to it, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay, let me pass you your eggs.
Okay.
You need egg yolks.
I usually use for this recipe, about 3 ounces of just regular yolks.
Okay,
So we'll put that in. So that goes in just like that.
okay,
And we also have about 4 ounces of whole eggs.
okay, which is 2 eggs,
To
2
go in
large
there as well.
eggs. You guys know a large egg will weigh 2 ounces. And so if someone calls for 4 ounces of eggs, we're just going to add 2 eggs to it. You don't have to weigh them.
That is correct.
All right, you want to go ahead and crack those and pop those in there?
Absolutely.
All right.
So it's real simple. Just get them in there. Nice and easy.
I'm going to give this a stir while you're doing that.
Okay. Try not to get any eggshells in there,
Yeah, right?
which can, mess
Makes
up
it
your
crunchy.
pastry cream, get a little crunch involved. So we're going to give it a nice little whisk, and then add your cornstarch, and also add the extract into the egg mixture.
Okay,
And that's pretty much it.
there's your cornstarch.
Thank you.
And for your extract today, you're not using a vanilla extract, correct?
I'm not. As a matter of fact,
You
I'm
are going to be
use
using
banana.
banana rum.
That is banana rum.
Banana rum.
Absolutely.
Nothing dangerous about that one.
Absolutely. So this is takes the place of the extract. Most extracts are alcohol based anyway.
They sure are.
So this is just a banana flavor and just
Okay.
maybe a couple of tablespoons. That's pretty much it. You
Right.
don't necessarily have to measure it out too much. Just
Okay.
go with it. Use your imagination a little bit.
And the reason we're using a banana rum is
Uh-huh.
because we're making banana pudding. If we're making a vanilla pudding, you want to add a vanilla to it.
Right.
And if you didn't want to use any kind of alcohol and you wanted to keep it non-alcoholic, you can buy a banana extract, and you can use banana extract as well.
That's correct, Chef Pamela. As a matter of fact, once I get here whisking, I just want to whisk long enough to get all the lumps out of
Okay.
there.
So
And,
we don't need to whisk it to fluff it, change
no,
color.
no.
So
No.
does this milk have to come to a complete boil?
No, just a small rolling boil. You
Okay.
don't want it to burn or anything or
Well, it
collect
is.
the
It is
film over.
almost there. Now, you guys, you got to be careful when you're boiling milk, cream, half and half, whatever. If you walk away from this and it boils, it will boil up and out and all over your stove. And trust me, you don't want to do that because that is one cleanup mess that you don't want to do. So now we're going to take this and we're going to whisk it in there. Now this is what we call tempering, y'all. We're going to take this hot liquid, so I'm going to slowly pour this into here and let you whisk it up.
Absolutely.
Okay? And the trick is here, guys, to pour it in slow. That's why you use teamwork. It's really a trick to do it all by yourself, but you do that in the restaurant all the time, right?
You have to think quickly and use as many hands. as
Yes,
have
you
'em.
do. And you can see that it starts to thicken by the cornstarch in there already, okay? We make a good team here, TJ.
Yes, we do. Nice and steady flow.
You don't want to add this all at once, because if you added all of this hot liquid to these cold eggs all at once, we'd end up with a popular breakfast food known as scrambled eggs. And you can see as by whisking this as you go, and by making sure that all your cornstarch is nice and smooth, before you start adding your milk, you are going to have a nice smooth pastry cream. If it happens to get lumpy on you, you can just run it through a strainer and add a little more milk to thin it out. But do we need to boil that a second time?
We do. We
Okay.
actually, what I like to do is go directly back into the pot.
Okay.
With not a problem, and just pour it right on back into the pot. Simple as that. On a lower heat this time, actually.
Okay.
And you don't want this to come to a boil at all at this point.
Right.
You just want to simmer it and basically have it to where it thickens up, and you want to constantly be stirring this at
You
that
want to
point.
stir that with a whisk, a spatula, or
I
a
like to
spoon?
use a whisk, and
Okay.
I like to use that whisk. It kind of it helps me feel
Okay.
the cream
Right.
as it gets a little thick, and I can
Right.
kind of feel it as opposed to
And you can feel it when it starts to stick to the bottom
absolutely,
too, right?
absolutely.
A lot of cooking is very tactile. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you're cooking, you know, make sure you understand what things are supposed to feel like, especially
That is
in addition
correct.
to what they're supposed to look like. Oh, there it is,
And
nice
it's actually
and thick.
starting to thicken up already. So
Yeah, it
sometimes what
is.
I'll do is I'll kind of take it off the heat just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and continue to stir and let it move around a little bit.
Okay, there it is.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at how nice and thick
Oh, yeah.
that is now.
Came out really nice. Came out really nice. It's nice and thick.
All
Now
right.
at this point, you want to go ahead and add your butter right into it.
We already measured this out for you.
Yes, indeed.
Here's your butter.
About 2 ounces of butter. And with that, you just really want to go ahead and stir that in. And then once that butter melts completely, then all you do is transfer it to another bowl to let it cool down before you start using it for your dessert.
Now here's a trick. When you got something hot like this that's been thickened with starch, cover that with a piece of cellophane, and we're going to show you how that goes right now.
So I'll go ahead and pour this directly into the bowl here with a nice spatula. Get everything out of there as much as you can.
And if
It's
it
ready to
happened to
roll.
burn on the bottom, guys, don't scrape that burnt stuff off the bottom. Just leave it in the
No,
pot.
just leave
Wash
it in
that
there.
down the drain.
There we go.
Right. All right.
All right, put that back on the stove until it's ready.
Now, put that cellophane on there. Show them how that
Sure,
works.
absolutely.
And this is a little trick, because what happens is the starch will interact with the air and it
Mm-hmm.
will form a film on top of anything that's, even if you're making a sauce, when you let it cool down, it'll form a film on top if it's been thickened with starch.
Exactly.
And this is one way that we keep it from doing that, is we cover it completely,
Cover it
all the way
completely.
down with a piece of cellophane. While that's cooling down, we have got to make the crust.
That's correct.
Don't we?
That's
We've
the
got
best
to
part.
deal, yeah, you know, I'm looking forward to it, yes.
Absolutely.
And so for the crust, we use vanilla wafers, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so show us what we need to do with these vanilla wafers. We're not
Okay.
using them whole, are we?
No, I don't use them whole.
Okay.
If you've had banana pudding in the past, usually you'll see that those wafers get a little soggy.
Yeah, they get really soggy.
So as a matter of fact, I'm trying to come up with something to kind of change that.
Okay.
So this is a crumble. It maintains the crunch in the
Okay.
pudding. So
Oh,
it's just
that'll
really
be good.
I put a little warm spices in there too.
Okay.
You know,
Cinnamon,
different
ginger.
cinnamon, a little bit of ginger, some nutmeg.
Okay.
And it kind of spices it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
it
It's real
would.
good.
It would. That would be really good.
All right.
So in order to make those, what do you have to do?
Well, you take about a pound of vanilla wafers.
Okay.
And we're going to process them in a Robocoo.
Okay.
And you know, folks who may not have a Robocoo, you can use a regular food processor.
Food
it's fine.
processor.
So basically, just take your wafers, pour them on in. And at this point, you can even add your sugar. It's
And you're
not a
going to use
problem.
brown sugar, right?
I like to use brown sugar,
Okay.
and it helps. It gives a little more
That
of a
gives it a nice
depth
flavor.
Yeah, you just pour your brown sugar right on in there.
And you're going to use
a little bit of flour.
a little bit of flour.
About
Now-
a quarter of a cup of flour.
Okay, why are you using flour?
Well, I found that once you bake this off, the flour gives it a little bit more heaviness.
Okay.
And when you bake it, and you want it to kind of come out like a cookie. And
Right.
so what happens is that gives it an opportunity to do that.
Okay.
So it's really good. So
So
I
you
just add it
mentioned
in there.
baking. How long? What temperature do you bake it at?
I bake it at 375 degrees.
Great. So
And I
hot
do
oven.
that, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And I let it for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all it takes.
All right. Do you need a bowl
Yeah,
for those?
I do.
All right. Here's a bowl. And your spices are all right here.
Spices are all right there. You just pour those in. You may have some chunky bits like that, and that's fine.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we're going to break those up
Okay.
and make sure that they're doing well. So
Okay.
put your ginger in,
All right.
a little bit of nutmeg. Right here is about both of them are about a teaspoon each.
Okay.
Okay. And then also a little bit of cinnamon.
Okay.
Okay. And I like to go here with a little bit of melted butter.
Melted butter,
You know what I mean?
yes.
And so-
We've got that melted right
Absolutely.
there for you.
And we can mix this up a little bit prior to.
Okay.
Get those spices in there really good.
That looks great.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we add our butter right in there. You can't
And
use too much butter, by the way.
There's
It's
spatulas
really
right
good.
there. You know, butter.
Butter makes everything taste better.
Butter.
So you just want to
favorite
mix that in,
things.
incorporate it in really well. If anyone's ever made a graham cracker crust before,
I was just going to say, it reminds me of a
it's very
crumb
similar
crust.
to a graham cracker crust.
And so you're just mixing this together until it has basically
That's correct.
it's all moist from the butter.
And that's it.
Okay, so next we're going to spread this out on a sheet pan.
Absolutely.
Now, I always take my sheet pans and line them with a piece of parchment. Parchment's marvelous, guys. It really saves so much cleanup in the kitchen. And then when the crumbs are done, you can always take this up and zoop.
That's
Makes
correct.
things so easy. Love parchment. Buy some, it's good for you. There you go.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we're going to do?
Well, just pour them right on
All right,
to the parchment paper.
so there you go.
So I
Spread
got
that
it on
out.
here and I want to spread it out, but I also want to keep it firmly packed as well.
Right.
So that it develops sort of a cookie texture.
So
as-
you don't
yeah,
want to spread it out so it gets all loosey-goosey. We want to compact it a little bit, right?
Exactly.
So we're kind of like making a big patty cake.
Exactly.
All right, okay.
And that's perfect, just like that. Into the oven, 375 for about,
All right.
like I said, 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. And so while that's in the oven,
Mm-hmm.
why don't we've got some cooled off pastry cream right here. It's a much smaller bowl, but still it's the same thing. Why don't you show them how to put this into a pastry bag?
I will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So using a pastry bag, a lot of people think, piping bag, pastry bags, a lot of people think it's really easy to do. But one thing that I find as a culinary teacher is that most people really overfill their bags, don't they?
They do.
They really overfill their bags. So you only want to fill your pastry bag about a third of the way. That gives you a lot of room to be able to squeeze and hold on and really control. And you can always refill the bag. It's a lot easier to do than
That's correct.
taking the bag and having it over full. Voila, une
Thank you.
spatula.
So we have a spatula here. We just go ahead and scrape out your pastry cream right there.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, notice. A simple quart container, and it could be, it doesn't have to be plastic, it could be a glass, it could be some kind of a cylinder. You're gonna take your pastry bag and just stick it right in there, okay?
That's correct.
Just stick it right in there. And that way you don't have to have this bag folded over your hand, you don't have to hold it, try to measure all these things all in one-handed. You can do everything. You got extra hands right there,
Absolutely.
okay?
Yes, indeed.
Go for it.
Okay, well, it's just very simple. If you put that in there with the spatula and just kind of drop it on in.
Okay,
It's very simple, nice and easy. Get
All right.
the excess off of there
okay.
and drop it on in. As simple
right.
as that. At the end of that, you just want to take your pastry bag out of the container, give it a nice little shake, and then it's ready to rock and roll.
There you go. What kind of dishes are we going to use today? We're going to make a couple of small portions for us to taste.
Okay.
Okay. And then we are also, you have a signature way of you serving these things. And what is that?
Well, I'd like to make them in a mason jar.
There you
I
go.
serve them at the restaurant. We have this on our menu onto the table in the mason jar. It looks really nice and people like it.
Isn't that cute as a button? I just think they're adorable. So
Appreciate it.
why don't we assemble a couple of these?
Okay.
And let's do our dish here. And we need to get our crumbs, don't we?
We do.
We do. This should be done by now.
They should be.
All right, let's see here.
All right.
Voila.
Yes, indeed.
There they are.
All right.
Okay, so be careful. This pan's just a little warm.
All right.
I don't think we need to break these up anymore, do you?
Well, not really. Once you
Okay.
do the processing and so forth, you can kind of break them up with your hands a little
Okay.
bit when you're building your,
Like on
your
these
banana
big,
pudding.
big pieces here.
Exactly.
So let's get some mason jars.
All right.
let's assemble. Let's do about 3 of them. Okay?
Sounds good.
Show them how to do it.
Sure.
Okay. Now, what we're using these are small. I think these are the 8-ounce jars. Yeah, these are 8-ounce jars. And this can be for a 1-person serving. If you wanted to use the bigger jars, they can be for a 2-person serving. These things are great to tuck into little friendship baskets if you're going somewhere. So what do we need first? Crumbs?
Well, I like to go with the crumbs first.
Okay.
To give it a little crunch. So basically all you're doing is you're taking your deal here.
Okay.
You take a few of the crumbs.
All right. I'm going to assemble one right along with you. How about that?
Sounds good. And you don't need a lot
Back.
in
Okay.
the first beginning. All you need is maybe a couple of those spoons.
Okay.
And you want to layer it.
Okay.
And it really looks really nice in the glass
So
when
about
it's
like
done.
that?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to put one more spoonful in there because the crumbs are so good.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So then what do we do?
And then you go in with your pastry cream.
Okay.
And the piping bag makes it really nice and easy. And all you have to do is take a pair of scissors and clip the tip off. And
Do you know
you're
what
good
we
to go.
forgot?
What's that?
Bananas.
Bananas go in second.
Okay.
I like to put the bananas on top of the pastry cream.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Let's do that.
All right.
There you go.
Thank
There you go. So we're just going to cut the tip off of that.
Just cut the tip with no problem, and then go right on in with your pastry cream. It's really
Okay.
nice and easy. And just kind of give it like a nice little whip. And you don't have to put a lot to begin with.
But it is banana pudding. We want a
Yeah.
lot.
So at this point, this is where I like to add my bananas.
Now you do something a little bit different with your bananas too,
I do,
don't you?
I do.
We have some bananas that have been soaking back here. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, these look like decadent little devils. How did you do that?
Well, what I've come up with is if I have a little acid with
Mm-hmm.
the bananas, it'll keep them from going brown. So I to get a little flavor in there, I decided to use banana flavored rum to soak them in.
There's that rum again.
Exactly. And you can also use any form of alcohol if you like
Okay.
a different flavor, a bourbon or
Okay.
a dark rum or something of that nature.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. I just like to use the banana rum to get a little more banana flavor.
Okay.
But it's very simple. You just take just about maybe 2 or 3 of the rum soaked bananas
Okay.
and put them inside the mason jar.
And so you
Yeah.
said layered. What's the next
Absolutely.
layer?
A little bit more crunch. So
Okay,
I'll go
more
in with
crunch?
a little bit more crunch. I'll
Okay,
give
give
that
me
one
one
here.
and let me put some more crunch in this one.
Yeah.
All right. And so you cover it again? Cover
do.
the surface or just sprinkle?
I give it a nice little covering.
Okay,
and,
about like that. No, a little bit more because I
yeah.
can still see the nanners. Mm-hmm. The nanners, the nanners.
And once it's covered, you're in good shape.
Like that?
Exactly.
Does that look okay?
Yes, it does. Looks
All
perfect.
right.
And then from here, we go back with another layer of the pastry cream.
Yay, pastry cream!
So we get that in there nice and good.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that. And we're almost done. From here, I add my whipped topping.
Okay, so do you do anything special to your whip topping?
Well, this particular whipped topping recipe, I kind of infuse it with a little white chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It gives a little firmer
Okay.
texture, and it gives it a nice flavor.
All right.
But for those at home, they can use any whipped topping that they like. It's not a big
So if
deal.
they just use plain old whipped cream, they could even take maybe some white chocolate and maybe shave it over the
Sure
top?
they can.
You don't even have to use chocolate, do you?
Absolutely. You don't have to
Okay.
do it at all.
Okay.
So again, I used a piping bag for this also.
Okay.
And for building it in these mason jars, using a piping bag just makes it a lot easier.
Oh, yes, it does.
Instead of using spoons
Yes,
and
it
so
does.
forth. But this is the last bit of it, so the last portion of our layering. So I'll try to make our whipped cream look a little nice
fancy?
and decorative.
Okay.
And
You know what? We're going to need a cookie to top that off with, aren't we?
that's a good idea. And at this point, what I do is I have a salted caramel drizzle that I like to put over the top of that.
Oh, you had me at salted.
Yeah. Yes,
All
indeed.
right.
And then that's pretty much at the
Do you
end
put
of
the
it.
cookie in first or last?
I do that last.
All right. There's a cookie, and I'm
Okay.
going to fish us out another one here.
All right.
Got to get the ones that look pretty, not the ones that are all broken.
Exactly. They look
Okay.
better too.
All right. So your caramel
Mm-hmm.
is right back here.
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
Hopefully it's still warm, and if it's, you can use the caramel sauces that you use for ice cream for this. You got it?
I do.
And it's really easy to do. Just warm it up a little bit so that it flows really nice. Caramel has a tendency to get really thick if it's cold.
Just a little drizzle over the
Just
top.
a little drizzle.
That's it. Not a whole lot.
Oh, these look so much fun.
They're really fun to make. This portion size is great for a single person, just one person, or if they want to have 2 people, it's nice enough for that as well.
There you go.
And then we top it off with a little vanilla
A
wafer.
little cookie.
And that's it.
All right. So if we were to plate that up in a bowl, show us how we would plate that up in a bowl.
Sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
let's go ahead and make 2 of those.
Sure.
So we can have those on our dining table.
Okay. Now, if I was doing that, I would take a little bit of the crumble, hit it in there, just to cover the bottom of it,
Okay.
enough to cover the bottom of it like that.
All right.
And then I would give it probably just 1 layer this time for a bowl like this
Okay.
of pastry cream. Not a whole lot left in there, but there
Right,
should
we
be
have
enough
another
here.
one, don't we?
I think we do.
I think this is pastry cream.
It is.
Okay. There
Thank
we go.
you.
That one's ready to go.
And again, we just want to give that a nice little swirl here on top of those crumbs. And it
And
doesn't
if you
require
wanted to
a
use
lot.
a star tip for this, you could. You don't have to.
Absolutely. And at this point, I would go ahead and add a banana on top.
Okay.
Just one for a single portion like this.
Just one
Just one.
rum-soaked banana?
Just one
Okay.
would be perfect. I just sit it right on top
Because
of
it is
there.
just a small little dessert, right?
Yeah. And those bananas, they cover a lot of space. That
Okay.
like
Oh,
that.
you need a couple cookies for those?
Well, I actually go back over the top with a little bit more crunch.
Okay.
I'd give it a little bit more crunch over the top of that. And then I hit it with my whipped cream one more time.
Got to hit it with the whipped cream.
A nice little whip like that.
There you go. Now the cookies, right?
Well,
I really want to put the cookies on there,
gotta
don't
do
I?
my drizzle. A little drizzle on top right there of the salted caramel.
Salted caramel.
Chef Pamela, now you can add the cookies.
I can add the cookies,
Yes, you
yay! Okay, we got a cookie. Well, that one's got a broken edge. There you go. There you go.
All right.
There's one. And this one looks like it's a good one. Yay, the cookies. There you go.
Perfect.
All right. And now, why don't you make up a family style dessert?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so on this one, on the really big ones, would you go ahead and put the crumble on the bottom still?
I still would, absolutely. And we want to put probably a larger amount of the crumble, obviously, for
Okay.
for a larger bowl. And but it doesn't take a whole lot. You just want a nice layer on the bottom. For a family style portion like this, I'd say maybe a half a cup of the crumble,
Okay,
approximately. Yeah.
okay.
And then from there, same thing. Build it the same way we would in the
Okay.
mason jar, pretty much. We just go with our
With
pastry
your crumble, the pastry cream,
Right. And
the
so-
bananas, the whip.
cream. So with this pastry cream, I'd probably go a little bit like this,
Okay,
a little side to side action, and that's pretty much all you need
okay.
at that point. And here's where I would load my bananas up on there.
Load the bananas up. Ah, now you're talking. Load those bananas.
Yeah, you want to give it a nice little layer of bananas on this particular portion
Okay.
here.
Because this is like if you were to go to a potluck or something, you could take this and then people can help themselves, and you want to make sure that they do get a banana, or
Absolutely.
2 or 3 or.
And that's about enough. It's a nice thin layer of the
Okay.
bananas. And at this point, I'd go back over with some crumble.
Okay.
Hit it again with a
Crumble,
little more
crumble?
crumble.
And this one's just scattered on there, right?
Exactly. And again, pastry cream.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of that, I would go ahead and hit it with the whipped topping.
Now that's your pastry cream.
That is.
Okay.
I'll put
So
another
then
layer of that. Mhm.
Okay.
Just on the top. And now we're going to hit it with the whipped topping. And with this, you can just kind of
Do a little swirly.
do a little swirl.
And that's fun to play with your
Yeah, it
pastry
is.
chips, guys.
It very
just,
much
just make
is.
designs. Just play
Yeah.
with it, okay?
And that's pretty much it. I will go over that now with some drizzle.
And you need some wafers.
Absolutely. Now this time it's going to get more than one wafer.
How many wafers do you want?
I'd put maybe, I figure 1 per portion. I'd probably about 4 portions out of this. So I would go at least 4 or 5, yeah, definitely. And this is no particular set way to put it in,
Put it in
kinda put
any
it in
way you
there.
like it.
kind of like that.
Need more?
Yeah, that would, one more would be great.
One
Put
more?
One right in the middle.
All right, there you go.
I'll let you do that one.
There you go.
Boom. And that's
All right,
it.
here we go. This looks so yummy. We have got this wonderful family style banana pudding. I'm not going to say, I think maybe there's 1 portion in there, but somebody would probably feel that wonderfully to their family. We have these wonderful single portions here done up in mason jars that are just as cute as buttons. And we also have our single portions if you were eating at a lovely dinner party that you could give your guests and serve a banana pudding très elegant. So there you go. If you want the recipes, grab them off of our website at pbscharlotte.org, or you can pop me an email at Pamela, P-A-M-E-L-A, .roberts, R-O-B-E-R-T-S, at cpcc.edu. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Charlotte Cooks. And Chef TJ, thank you for coming on set with me and cooking
pleasure.
your favorite wonderful banana pudding.
my
And you'll have to join you'll have to join me again, okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
So thank you for watching this episode of Charlotte Cooks. Let's go to the dining room table and eat this stuff now, okay? All right. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
A production of PBS Charlotte.